crown slips. Not from Aldric's head, no, the Frost King stands rigid as stone on his throne, every muscle locked in the kind of control that comes from years of burying everything that makes a man human. The crown slips from his firstborn son's tiny hands, clattering against marble with a sound that splits the coronation hall wide open. Every breath stops. Kaius feels his knees buckle. Not from the ceremonial position Saren forced him into moments ago, but from the shock of watching his 4-year-old sprint past royal guards like they're nothing more than decorative statues. The boy's golden curls catch afternoon light streaming through stained glass, turning him into something holy, something untouchable, something that shouldn't exist in a room built on hierarchy and cruelty. Why is Papa Kai sad? The words crack through 200 noble heartbeats like lightning through winter sky. Kaius's hand flies to his swollen belly, protective, instinctive, terrified. The baby inside kicks hard against his palm, sensing danger the way prey senses wolves circling in darkness. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Saren's jaw tightens. The newly crowned Alpha Regent, all sharp cheekbones and calculated charm, takes one step forward from his position beside Aldric's throne. His voice drops to a whisper meant only for the Frost King's ears, but Kaius catches it anyway. Omegas always do. Control your pup or I will. Aldric doesn't move, doesn't blink. His silver eyes track the boy like a predator watching something it can't decide whether to protect or destroy. The court holds its collective breath, waiting for the king to speak, to command, to restore order to a ceremony that's unraveling faster than silk in fire. The boy doesn't wait for permission. He never learned to fear the things that make grown men tremble. His small fingers wrap around the crown, heavy gold inlaid with northern diamonds that cost more than most families earn in lifetimes, and he lifts it with the kind of determination only children possess. The kind that doesn't understand impossible. Advisors gasp. Guards shift weight from foot to foot, hands twitching toward weapons they can't draw without direct orders. Nobles crane necks to see better, hungry for scandal the way vultures circle dying things. Kaius tries to stand. His pregnant body protests every movement. The baby sits low now, pressing against bones that weren't designed to carry this much weight while kneeling on marble for 20 minutes. His vision blurs at the edges. Sweat beads along his spine despite the hall's winter chill. He opens his mouth to call his son back, to beg him to return the crown before Saren decides to make an example of them both. But the boy is already moving. He toddles across polished stone, past the master of ceremonies' frozen mid-gesture, past the high priestess clutching her ceremonial staff like it might save her, past rows of nobility who've spent decades learning exactly how invisible Omegas should be. He stops directly in front of Kaius, breathing hard from his sprint, eyes bright with something that looks dangerously close to justice. Papa Kai should wear it. The boy's voice rings clear in the terrible silence. He's the one who cries but still takes care of me. Time fractures. Kaius feels the crown's weight settle onto his bowed head, cold metal against sweat-damp hair, heavy enough to make his neck strain, foreign in a way that makes his skin crawl with wrongness. This isn't his. This was never meant for him. Omegas don't wear crowns. They kneel at the feet of those who do. The hall erupts, not with cheers, not with celebration, with chaos, the kind that rewrites kingdoms and exposes monsters hiding in plain sight. Blasphemy! Someone screams from the eastern gallery. The pup dares. Remove it. Remove it now. Who taught that child such disrespect? Kaius's hands shake as they rise toward the crown, ready to rip it off, to apologize, to make this right before Saren's fury turns into something worse than public humiliation. But before his fingers touch gold, a voice cuts through the madness like winter wind through bare branches. Don't! Aldric's command freezes every person in the hall. Even the boy stops moving, staring up at his father with wide eyes that haven't yet learned to fear the Frost King's tone. Kaius's breath catches in his throat. He can't see Aldric from his position. Still kneeling, still bent under the crown's weight, still trapped in the same spot where Saren orchestrated his humiliation. Footsteps approach, slow, deliberate. the kind that measure power in the space between heartbeats. Kaius risks a glance upward. Aldric stands 3 feet away, tall enough to block out the light from the western windows. His ceremonial robes fall in perfect lines, crimson and silver, marked with the northern wolf that's been his family's symbol for 8 generations. His face remains unreadable, carved from the same ice that built his reputation. But his eyes burn, not with anger, with something Kaius can't name, something that looks like recognition mixed with grief, mixed with a kind of desperate rage that men spend lifetimes learning to bury. Saren moves into Kaius's peripheral vision. The Alpha Regent's nostrils flare, the only crack in his careful composure. "My king, surely you see the insult here. The pup doesn't understand hierarchy. Allow me to educate him on proper. Touch either of them," Aldric says quietly, "and you'll learn exactly how cold the northern dungeons get in winter." The court goes silent again. A different silence this time, the kind that comes before storms. Saren's smile stretches thin as razor wire. "Of course, Your Majesty. I only meant to preserve the dignity of your throne. After all, a kingdom cannot function when children make decisions meant for." The throne responded to him. Every head turns toward the High Priestess. She stares at Kaius with something between horror and wonder, her wrinkled hands gripping her staff so hard the wood creaks. The throne responded. I felt it. The ancient magic in the stone. It recognized the Omega's heartbeat. Nobles explode into argument. Some shout that it's impossible. Others demand proof. A few, very few, watch Kaius with calculating expressions that make his skin prickle with warning. Kaius doesn't understand. The throne is just stone and metal. It doesn't respond to anything except the weight of whoever sits on it. But the High Priestess doesn't lie. She served the kingdom for 60 years, survived 4 kings, witnessed ceremonies that became legend. If she says the throne responded, the baby kicks again, harder this time. Kaius gasps, doubling forward. Pain lances through his lower back, sharp enough to steal breath. Too early. The baby isn't due for another month. This can't be happening. Not here. Not now. Not in front of 200 people who already think he's an abomination for carrying the king's child. Small hands grab his arm. The boy's face swims into focus, worry creasing his forehead in a way that makes him look too old for 4. "Papa Kai? Are you okay?" Kaius tries to answer. His voice won't work. Another contraction. False alarm, it has to be false alarm. Tightens across his belly like iron bands. Aldric's hand appears in his line of vision. Palm up, offering. Steady despite the chaos erupting around them. Kaius stares at that hand like it might burn him. Taking it means accepting help from the king who crowned another alpha while knowing that Kaius carried his child. Taking it means making their connection public in a way that can't be undone. Taking it means choosing sides in a war that started the moment Saren's ambition collided with Aldric's grief. Saren's voice slices through Kaius's hesitation. Then let the kingdom judge the Omega who dares wear a crown. The crowd shifts. Faces that were merely curious moments ago harden into judgment. Someone spits on the marble near Kaius's knee. Another voice calls him a whore. A third demands a purity trial, the ancient ritual where Omegas prove their worth through pain. Aldric's hand doesn't waver. His silver eyes lock onto Kaius's brown ones, holding steady despite the riot building around them. The boy squeezes Kaius's arm tighter. "Papa Kai," he whispers. "Take his hand." Kaius's fingers move before his mind catches up. They slide into Aldric's palm, warm despite the Frost King's reputation. Calloused from sword practice, strong enough to pull him upright without making it look like an effort. The crown stays on his head. Saren's eyes go dark with fury, and the guards hesitate, unsure whether to obey the king or the newly crowned Alpha Regent. What happens when a child's love exposes the cracks in a kingdom built on cruelty? Will Aldric finally protect what he's kept hidden? Or will Saren's rage destroy everything before the truth can surface? Drop your predictions below. The throne hums. Kaius feels it through his bones. A vibration so low it shouldn't exist. like the earth remembering something buried deep. He sways on his feet, Aldric's hand the only thing keeping him upright, and watches nobles scatter like startled birds. Some flee toward the exits. Others press forward, drawn to disaster the way moths chase flames. The boy hasn't let go of Kaius's sleeve. His small fingers twist fabric tight enough to leave wrinkles, anchoring himself to the only parent who never treated love like a political strategy. Advisors shout over each other near the Eastern Gallery. Their words blur together. Protocol, tradition, hierarchy, scandal. All of it meaningless noise compared to the weight of gold pressing against Kaius's skull. He wants to rip it off, needs to rip it off. But Aldric's grip on his hand tightens just enough to communicate something without words. Not yet. Saren descends from the dais with the kind of controlled grace that makes dangerous things look beautiful. His ceremonial robes, deep purple marked with silver crescent moons, catch light as he moves, drawing every eye in the hall. He stops 3 feet from Kaius, close enough that the Omega can smell expensive cologne mixed with something sharper. Rage, maybe, or hunger. Such a touching display. Saren's smile doesn't reach his eyes. But crowns aren't placed by children's whims. They're earned through bloodlines, through strength, through the throne's recognition. The high priestess steps forward, leaning heavily on her staff. Her voice carries despite her age, each word deliberate as hammer strikes. The ancient magic doesn't lie. It hasn't responded to anyone since. She cuts herself off, but the damage is done. Everyone in the hall knows what she almost said. Since the late queen, since Aldric's first mate died under circumstances the crown never explained. Since the Frost King's heart turned to ice and his mercy disappeared like snow in summer sun. Kaius feels eyes on him. Hundreds of them, dissecting, judging, hungry for scandal. His free hand moves to his belly again, protective instinct overriding everything else. The baby shifts inside him, restless and afraid. Omegas can sense their carrier's emotions, even before birth. His child knows something is wrong. Aldric finally speaks. Clear the hall. 3 words. That's all it takes. Guards move instantly, ushering nobility toward exits despite protests and demands for explanation. The master of ceremonies tries to argue about ceremony completion and traditional blessings. Aldric silences him with one look, the kind that built his reputation as a king who doesn't negotiate. Within minutes, the vast coronation hall empties to less than 20 people. Advisors, elite guards, the high priestess, Saren and his 2 closest allies, both alphas with family ties to southern territories. And Kaius, still standing there with a crown on his head and Aldric's hand wrapped around his, wondering how his life became this kind of nightmare. The boy tugs Kaius's sleeve. Did I do something wrong? No, baby. Kaius's voice comes out rougher than intended. He kneels, slowly, carefully, every movement calculated to avoid triggering another false contraction, until he's eye level with his son. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why is everyone angry? Because kingdoms run on rules, Kaius wants to say. Because Omegas aren't supposed to matter. Because your father crowned the wrong person to keep peace, and now we're all paying the price. But the boy is 4. He shouldn't have to understand politics that destroy lives before they're fully lived. They're not angry at you, Kaius says instead, brushing golden curls away from his son's forehead. They're just confused. Sometimes grown-ups forget what's important. Saren's laugh cuts through the moment like glass breaking. How profound. The Omega knows what's important. He turns to Aldric, expression shifting into something calculated and cold. My king, I believe we need to address this situation with clarity. The pup's actions, while innocent, cannot stand as legitimate coronation. The crown must be returned to its rightful. The throne recognized him. Aldric's voice drops to the register that makes enemy armies reconsider battle plans. Are you suggesting we ignore divine will? I'm suggesting, Saren says carefully, that divine will can be misinterpreted, especially in moments of high emotion and spectacle. Perhaps what the priestess felt was simply, I know what I felt. The high priestess slams her staff against marble, the crack echoing like thunder. Don't mistake my age for senility, Alpha Regent. The throne hasn't hummed like that in 8 years. Not since my mate died. Aldric finishes what she won't. His hand finally releases Kaius's, leaving the Omega swaying slightly, suddenly unanchored. Since Queen Malika's heart stopped beating, silence falls heavier than stone. No one speaks the late Queen's name. It's been forbidden by unspoken rule since her death. A wound too fresh even years later, a grief too raw for casual mention. Hearing Aldric say it out loud fractures something in the air. Kaius risks a glance at the king. Aldric stares at nothing, or maybe at everything, silver eyes distant with memory. His jaw works like he's chewing words too dangerous to speak. For just a moment, the Frost King looks almost human, almost breakable. Then Saren moves. He doesn't touch Kaius. Wouldn't dare, not with Aldric standing 3 feet away, but he circles the Omega like a predator measuring prey. This is the problem with sentimentality. Clouds judgment, makes us see significance where there's only coincidence. He stops directly in front of Kaius, forcing the Omega to look up. Tell me, Kaius, did you plan this? Did you coach the pup to create this spectacle? Is this your attempt at securing position through manipulation? Heat floods Kaius's face. I would never. Wouldn't you? Saren's voice sharpens. You've been living in the palace for months, carrying the king's child despite having no formal bond, no title, no legitimate claim. Some might say you've been angling for power from the beginning. That's enough. Aldric steps between them, physically blocking Saren's view of Kaius. The movement is slight, but its meaning screams through the hall. Protection, possession, warning. Saren's eyes narrow. Of course, I apologize if my questions seemed harsh. I only wish to understand how an Omega, a rescued Omega with no family, no background, no history, ended up wearing a crown meant for you? Aldric's question lands like a blade. That's what this is about, isn't it? Not tradition, not hierarchy, not even divine recognition. You're angry because a child chose someone else. The temperature in the hall drops. Guards shift weight, hands hovering near weapons. Advisors exchange glances that communicate entire conversations without words. Everyone recognizes the edge in Aldric's tone, the crack in his famous control, the warning before winter storms turn deadly. Saren's smile returns, but something ugly lives behind it now. I serve the kingdom, my king. If that service is no longer wanted, it's wanted. Aldric cuts him off. But question my judgment again, and your service will be relocated to the northern watchtowers. I hear the view is spectacular in winter, if you can see through the ice. Kaius feels the boy press against his leg, seeking comfort. He runs trembling fingers through golden curls, trying to project calm while his heart hammers against ribs. The baby kicks again, softer this time, exhausted from earlier panic. His body aches from kneeling too long, from stress, from carrying new life while navigating politics designed to destroy people like him. The crown weighs heavy enough to hurt. An advisor clears his throat, an older man with gray beard and kind eyes. Perhaps we should reconvene tomorrow. Allow time for prayer, reflection, consultation with. No, Saren's voice cracks like whip. We address this now. The kingdom deserves clarity. The court deserves truth. He turns to face the remaining nobles, voice rising to fill the hall. I propose a simple solution. Let the kingdom judge. Call the people. Let them see the Omega who dares wear a crown. Let them decide if divine will truly. Kaius's legs give out, not from fear, from exhaustion, from pain. From the simple fact that his pregnant body cannot sustain this level of stress without consequences. He crumples, knees hitting marble hard enough to send shock waves through his spine. The boy screams, Papa Kai. Hands catch him before he falls completely. Large hands, familiar hands, hands that have touched him in darkness when the palace slept and secrets stayed buried. Aldric hauls him upright again, supporting most of his weight, And for the first time since the coronation began, emotion flickers across the Frost King's face. Terror. The High Priestess gasps and whispers. The unborn pup's heartbeat. I can hear it. It resembles the late Queen's. Saren's face twists with fresh hatred, and the crowd turns on Kaius. Can an Omega survive a kingdom's judgment when even the king's protection might not be enough? What secrets connect the unborn child to a dead queen? Comment below if you think Kaius will escape this alive. Blood. Kaius feels it before he sees it. Warm and wet, trickling down his inner thigh, soaking through fabric expensive enough to feed families for months. His vision tunnels. Sound distorts. The hall spins like he's caught in current, drowning in air. The boy's scream cuts through his panic. Something's wrong with Papa Kai. Aldric's arm locks around Kaius's waist, holding him upright when gravity wants to drag him down. The Frost King's other hand presses against Kaius's belly, gentle despite his reputation, careful despite his rage, feeling for movement that will confirm the baby still lives. Kick, strong, angry, alive. Kaius gasps relief so sharp it hurts. The baby is okay. Has to be okay. Spotting happens sometimes in late pregnancy. Stress triggers false labor. This doesn't mean, call the healer. Aldric's command echoes off stone. Now, guards scatter. Advisors huddle together, whispering behind raised hands. The High Priestess clutches her staff like it might anchor her through whatever comes next. And Saren watches with eyes that gleam like a wolf spotting wounded prey. How convenient, the Alpha Regent says softly. The moment judgment arrives, the Omega falls ill. Some might call that. Some might lose their tongue. Aldric doesn't raise his voice. Doesn't need to. The threat hangs in air thick enough to taste. Choose your next words carefully. The boy hasn't moved from Kaius's side. His small face is pale, eyes too wide, bottom lip trembling with fear he's trying to swallow. For years old and already learning that loving someone means watching them hurt. Kaius forces his hand to move, reaching down to cup his son's cheek. I'm okay, baby. Just tired. The baby's kicking a lot today. Is the baby coming? Not yet. Kaius prays he's not lying. Not for a few more weeks. But you're bleeding. The boy's voice drops to whisper. I saw it. Smart child. Too smart for his own good. Kaius learned months ago that lying to this pup is impossible. He sees through deception the way other children see through glass. Must have inherited his father's ability to read people, to detect weakness, to find truth buried under layers of careful words. Sometimes that happens, Kaius says, keeping his voice steady through sheer will. It doesn't always mean something bad. The healer arrives, an older woman with quick hands and no-nonsense expression. She takes one look at Kaius and her professional mask cracks for just a moment. Concern, maybe pity. She recovers fast, already pulling supplies from her bag. My king, I need to examine him, privately. No. Kaius's response surprises everyone, including himself. Whatever you find, they'll know anyway. The court, the nobles, Saren. He meets the Alpha Regent's gaze without flinching. Might as well give them the show they wanted. Aldric's jaw tightens. Kaius. He's right. The healer kneels beside them, already pressing gentle fingers against Kaius's wrist, checking his pulse. Privacy is a luxury we can't afford right now. If I take him away, rumors will spread faster than truth. She glances up at Aldric. The kingdom needs to see you protect him, publicly, without shame. The words land heavy as judgment, because that's the real question underneath all the political theater and hierarchical outrage. Will the Frost King finally claim the Omega he's kept hidden? Will he stand between Kaius and a kingdom that wants him erased? Aldric hesitates, just for a heartbeat. Just long enough for Kaius to feel cold certainty settle in his chest like ice. The king hasn't decided yet. Protection or politics, love or legacy. The choice that will determine whether Kaius survives past sunset. Then the boy does something that changes everything. He takes Aldric's hand, his small fingers wrapping around the Frost King's larger ones, and places it on Kaius's swollen stomach, right where the baby kicks, right where life grows despite a kingdom's cruelty. "Feel," the boy says simply. "That's my brother or sister. You said babies are precious. You said family matters more than crowns." The hall goes silent. Even Saren stops circling, frozen mid-step, watching with expression that communicates entire threats without speaking. Aldric's hand spreads across Kaius's belly. The baby kicks again. Strong enough to see movement through fabric, strong enough to feel even through layers of shock and fear. The Frost King's breath catches. His silver eyes close for just a moment, and when they open again, something fundamental has shifted in his face. Memory, recognition, grief transformed into fury. "When I lost my first mate," Aldric says quietly, "I swore I would never feel that kind of pain again, that I would never let anyone close enough to hurt me." His hand presses firmer against Kaius's stomach. "But this child exists. These children exist. And I'm done pretending they don't matter." The healer nods approval and continues her examination. Her hands move efficiently, checking for contractions, measuring the baby's position, assessing whether Kaius needs immediate intervention. Nobles crane next to watch, hungry for details they can twist into scandal. Kaius focuses on breathing, on not passing out, on ignoring the blood that keeps trickling down his leg and the shame that comes with it. Omegas are supposed to be perfect carriers. Nurturing, stable, designed by biology to protect the next generation. Spotting in public feels like failure, like his body is betraying him in front of everyone who already believes he's unworthy. The boy squeezes his hand. "Remember what you told me? When I was scared of thunder." Kaius forces himself to focus on his son's face. "What did I tell you? That brave doesn't mean not afraid. Brave means being afraid and doing it anyway." The boy's grip tightens. "You're being so brave right now, Papa Kai." Tears burn behind Kaius's eyes. He blinks them back. Crying in front of the court will only give Saren more ammunition, more proof that Omegas are too emotional for power, too weak for crowns. The healer sits back on her heels. The baby is fine. Strong heartbeat, good position. The spotting is stress-related, not labor. But she meets Aldric's gaze with the kind of directness that comes from serving royalty long enough to stop fearing them. But he needs rest, complete rest. No stress, no ceremony, no public spectacle. Another episode like this could trigger premature labor. Then he rests. Aldric's tone allows no argument. "In the royal quarters?" Saren's question sounds innocent. "Isn't? Surely that would be inappropriate." The Omega has no formal title, no bond ceremony, no legitimate claim to. He's wearing a crown. Aldric's voice drops to register that makes stones crack in winter. The throne recognized him. The pup chose him. And I. He pauses, and Kaius sees the war happening behind silver eyes. Politics versus truth. Strategy versus love. "I claim him, publicly, before witnesses. Let the kingdom judge that." The hall erupts. Nobles shout over each other. Advisors gesture frantically. Guards look to each other for guidance on how to handle a crisis without clear protocol. The high priestess raises her staff, trying to restore order through ancient authority. But underneath the chaos, Kaius hears something else. Footsteps, many of them, heavy boots on marble. The sound of armed soldiers approaching fast. Saren hears it too. His smile spreads slow as poison. "It seems the southern clans have arrived. I may have sent word that the coronation was becoming unstable, that the king needed support from allies who understand proper hierarchy." Aldric's hand moves to his sword. The gesture is slight, but every guard in the hall sees it, recognizes it, prepares for war. The boy presses closer to Kaius, seeking protection while simultaneously trying to offer it. "Papa Kai, are the soldiers bad?" Kaius doesn't know how to answer. Doesn't know if they have minutes or seconds before Saren's coup becomes reality. Doesn't know if Aldric will actually fight for him or if political preservation will win again. The doors at the far end of the hall crash open. 50 soldiers pour through, armor marked with southern sigils, weapons drawn, faces hard with purpose. They fan out across the marble, surrounding the remaining court, cutting off exits. Their commander steps forward, a scarred alpha with cold eyes and colder voice. Alpha Regent Saren called for reinforcement, said the kingdom was under threat from. His gaze lands on Kaius, still kneeling, still bleeding, still wearing a crown that doesn't belong to him. From him, Saren's voice rings clear across the hall. Seize the Omega. The crown returns to its rightful alpha now. When soldiers close in and allies become enemies, how far will a father go to protect his family? Will Aldric's claim be enough? Or has Saren already won? Drop your theories below. The Frost King moves, not toward the soldiers, toward Kaius, one fluid motion that positions his body between the Omega and 50 armed men. His hand stays on his sword hilt, not drawing yet, but the promise lives in his posture. One wrong move. That's all it takes. The boy clings to Kaius's leg, small body trembling. The healer stays kneeling, frozen mid-reach for her supplies, calculating whether she can grab them and run before violence erupts. The southern commander hesitates. His eyes flick from Aldric to Saren to the Omega still bleeding on marble. My king. Alpha Regent Saren sent word that a threat required immediate. Saren lied. Aldric's voice could freeze oceans. Stand down. I sent truth. Saren steps forward, calm as death. The kingdom is under threat. From sentiment, from weakness, from a king who would crown an Omega over proper hierarchy. He gestures at Kaius like he's evidence in trial. Look at him, bleeding, fragile, unable to even stand without support. This is what divine will supposedly chose. Murmurs ripple through the soldiers. Some nod agreement. Others keep weapons raised but eyes uncertain. The commander's scarred face remains unreadable. A career soldier who's seen too many political games to trust anyone's version of truth. Aldric doesn't raise his voice. Doesn't need to. I am your king. I command you to stand down. You were our king. Saren's words land like blade strikes. But a king who abandons hierarchy for sentiment abandons the crown. The throne requires strength, decisiveness. Not. He waves dismissively at Kaius. Not this. The boy's grip tightens on Kaius's leg. His small voice shakes but doesn't break. You're mean. Papa Kai is good. He takes care of me when I'm sick. He tells me stories. He doesn't yell like you do. Several soldiers shift uncomfortably. One even lowers his weapon slightly. Maybe a father himself, maybe just someone who remembers what innocence looks like before power corrupts it. Saren's smile sharpens. The pup doesn't understand. Children believe love conquers all. Adults know better. He turns to address the entire hall, voice rising with practiced authority. The Frost King lost his first mate to tragedy. We all mourned with him, but that grief has compromised his judgment, made him see significance in, say her name. Aldric's words cut through Saren's speech like winter wind. The Frost King takes one step forward, then another, closing distance between them with predatory grace. You want to use my grief as weapon? Then say her name. Say Malika. Say the name you forbade the court from speaking. Say it. Saren's composure cracks for just a heartbeat. The late queen's memory deserves. Her name was Malika. Aldric stops 3 feet away, close enough that everyone can see the muscle jumping in his jaw, the white-knuckle grip on his sword, the rage burning through famous control. She died 8 years ago in this hall, during a ceremony remarkably similar to today's, surrounded by people who claimed loyalty while planning betrayal. And you, his voice drops to deadly quiet, you were there. The temperature plummets. Nobles exchange panicked glances. Guards tense like they're expecting explosion. The high priestess clutches her staff with hands gone white. Saren's eyes narrow to slits. Are you accusing me of? I'm stating fact. Aldric circles him now, the hunter becoming the hunted. You arrived at court 3 months before Malika died. Young, ambitious, hungry for power. You befriended her, gained her trust, convinced her that certain nobles posed threats to the kingdom. Each word lands heavier than the last. She died investigating those threats, alone, in the Eastern Tower, a fall that made no sense because Malika was careful, trained, capable. Kaius's breath catches, the healer's hand still on his wrist, pulse suddenly racing against her fingers. Even the boy stops trembling, sensing that adults are speaking truths that reshape worlds. Saren's mask finally shatters. Fury twists his features into something ugly, something honest. You have no proof. Only grief and paranoia and desperate need to blame someone for. I have memory. Aldric's hand moves to his chest, pressing against where heart lives. I have 8 years of watching you climb ranks, of seeing you eliminate rivals through scandal and rumor and convenient accidents, of recognizing the same pattern that killed my mate playing out again. He turns to face the court. And I have the throne's recognition, not for me, not for Saren. For an Omega who never wanted power but somehow earned it anyway. The Southern commander steps forward, weapon lowered but not sheathed. My king, these are serious allegations. If true, they require investigation, proper trial. Not a coup disguised as reinforcement. Aldric gestures at the 50 soldiers. You were called here to seize an Omega, to restore hierarchy, to support Saren's claim over mine. Don't insult my intelligence by pretending otherwise. The commander's jaw works. He's trapped between orders and oaths, between the Alpha Regent who promised power and the Frost King who still commands loyalty. His men watch him, waiting for signal that will determine whether this ends in words or bloodshed. Kaius feels another contraction. Sharper this time, lasting longer. He gasps, doubling forward, and the crown slips. The boy catches it before it hits marble, small hands struggling under weight meant for adults. The healer's voice cuts through tension. The Omega needs immediate rest. This stress is triggering labor. Real labor this time. If we don't get him somewhere safe, then take him. Saren's interruption sounds almost reasonable, almost kind. Take him to the servants' quarters. Call a midwife. Let him birth in peace. But the crown stays here. The ceremony continues. The kingdom cannot wait on. The kingdom can burn. Aldric's words freeze everyone mid-breath. The Frost King, famous for control, for putting realm above all else, for sacrificing personal wants for political necessity, just declared his priorities in front of 50 witnesses. My family comes first. The Omega stays with me. The crown stays with him. And anyone who disagrees can challenge me directly. Silence falls absolute. No one challenges the Frost King in direct combat. His reputation was built on duels that ended careers, rebellions that ended bloodlines, wars that ended kingdoms. Even Saren, ambitious, cruel, calculating Saren, goes still as prey-sensing predator too close to outrun. The Southern commander makes his choice. Stand down. He sheathes his weapon, signaling his men to do the same. We were called under false pretenses. The king has spoken. The matter is settled. The matter is not, Saren starts. It is. The commander's voice hardens. I serve the northern throne, not ambition disguised as duty. He turns to Aldric, dropping into formal bow. My king, my men are yours to command. The southern clans remain loyal. Relief floods Kaius so fast his vision blurs. The baby kicks, celebrating or protesting, he can't tell. The boy presses the crown back onto his head, careful and gentle, then wraps arms around Kaius's neck. You're safe now, Papa Kai. But Kaius sees Saren's face, sees rage and calculation and promises of revenge. Sees the way the Alpha Regent's eyes track every person who chose Aldric over him, cataloging betrayal for future punishment. This isn't over. This is barely beginning. Aldric reaches down, offering his hand again. Can you walk? I think so. Kaius lets the Frost King pull him upright. His legs shake but hold. The healer hovers close, ready to catch him if he falls again. They make it 3 steps before Saren speaks one last time. Your late queen didn't die by accident, my king. And Kaius will share her fate. The words hang in air like poison, like promise, like truth wrapped in threat. Aldric stops walking, ice in his veins, and asks, "What did you do?" Saren smiles. Has Saren just confessed to murder? Or is this another manipulation? Can Aldric protect Kaius from an enemy who's already killed once? Comment your theories below. What really happened to Queen Malika? Memory crashes through Aldric like winter storm. Malika laughing in sunlight. Malika dancing at Harvest Festival. Malika 8 months pregnant, glowing with life, planning nursery colors with excitement that made the entire palace feel warm. Then Malika's body at the bottom of the Eastern Tower, neck broken, eyes open, hands still reaching toward something no one else could see. The official report called it accident, tragic, unavoidable. The Queen investigating rumors of conspiracy, leaning too far over the railing, losing balance because pregnancy shifted her center of gravity. Clean, simple, believable enough that Aldric spent 8 years blaming himself for not being there, for not protecting her, for failing the one person who loved him without agenda. But standing here now, watching Saren's smile spread like disease, Aldric sees different truth. Murder. Calculated. Planned. Executed by someone patient enough to wait years before claiming the reward. You killed her. Aldric's voice comes out flat. Dead. The tone that precedes violence so extreme it becomes legend. You killed Malika and made it look like accident. Saren shrugs. Casual, unbothered. Almost bored. I removed an obstacle. The Queen was too soft. Too focused on sentiment over strategy. She would have weakened the kingdom with her idealism, her reforms, her ridiculous belief that Omegas deserved. His gaze flicks to Kaius. Well, we see how that ends. The boy's small voice breaks through Aldric's rage. You hurt my first mama? Everyone freezes, because the pup never knew his birth mother. Malika died before he was born, emergency cesarean that saved the baby but not the Queen. The boy grew up with nursemaids and tutors and a father who could barely look at him without seeing ghosts. Until Kaius. Until the broken Omega rescued from trafficking taught the pup what love looks like when it isn't transactional. Saren laughs, sharp and cruel. The pup doesn't even remember her. Proves how little she mattered. She mattered to me. Aldric's hand moves to his sword. This time he draws. Steel whispers against leather, catching light from stained glass windows, reflecting red and gold and blue across marble. She was my mate, my queen, the mother of my child, and you took her from us. The Southern soldiers shift nervously. Their commander steps forward, hand raised in caution. My king, trial by combat requires formal challenge. Proper ceremony. Not murder confession? Aldric closes distance between himself and Saren, blade steady despite fury burning through his veins. He just admitted to regicide, to killing a pregnant Omega, to betraying crown and kingdom for personal ambition. What trial does that require? Saren doesn't retreat, doesn't even flinch. You have no proof, only my word against your grief-driven accusations. The court will see this for what it is, a desperate king clinging to conspiracy theory rather than accepting tragic accident. He spreads his arms wide, addressing the remaining nobles. Who benefits from my death? Not the kingdom, not stability, only sentiment. Only the Omega who somehow convinced the Frost King to abandon everything we built. Kaius feels acid rise in his throat. This is his fault. If he hadn't come here, hadn't caught Aldric's attention during rescue, hadn't fallen pregnant despite knowing the impossibility of their situation, Malika would still be dead, but at least her killer wouldn't be using Kaius as scapegoat. The healer's hand squeezes his wrist. Don't blame yourself. I see it in your face. This isn't your doing. How can it not be? Kaius whispers. If I wasn't here, then Saren would have found different excuse. The healer's voice hardens with certainty born from decades serving court politics. Men like him don't need reason. They create it. The boy tugs Kaius's sleeve. What's regicide? Killing a king or queen, Kaius answers softly. Something very bad. Did the mean Alpha really kill my first mama? Kaius doesn't know how to answer. The boy deserves truth, but truth this heavy breaks children. He settles for, your father will find out. And then justice. But justice requires proof, witnesses, evidence that survives 8 years of careful covering. Aldric can challenge Saren to combat, can gut him on marble in front of everyone, but that only makes martyrs. Turns murders into heroes. Gives ambitious nobles excuse to fragment the kingdom into civil war. The high priestess slams her staff against stone. Enough! Her voice cracks with age and authority combined. Alpha Regent Saren, you stand accused of regicide. King Aldric, you claim right to immediate combat. But our laws require. I know what laws require. Aldric doesn't lower his blade. 3 days investigation. Formal charges. Trial before council. All designed to let guilty parties destroy evidence and buy loyalty. His silver eyes never leave Saren's face. How much evidence disappeared in 8 years? How many witnesses died or fled or suddenly remembered different stories? Saren's smile sharpens. The laws exist for reason. Even kings answer to them. Even murderers hide behind them. Tension stretches thin as wire. Every person in the hall feels it. The moment before explosion, the breath before violence, the choice that rewrites everything. Kaius feels another contraction. Stronger, longer. His water breaks. Warm fluid soaking through already blood-stained fabric, pooling on marble, announcing that ready or not, traumatic or not, the baby has decided now is the time. He gasps. The boy's arms tighten around his leg. The healer curses under her breath. The Omega is in active labor, she announces loudly. He needs to be moved immediately or he'll birth on this floor. Aldric's attention fractures, sword still trained on Saren, but eyes darting to Kaius. The Frost King's famous control cracks wide open, revealing panic underneath. How long? Minutes, maybe an hour if we're fortunate. But not here, not surrounded by. The healer gestures at 50 soldiers, hostile nobles, and an Alpha Regent who just confessed to murder. Not surrounded by this. Saren laughs. How poetic. History repeats. Another Omega birthing during crisis. Another tragedy waiting to. Aldric moves faster than physics should allow. One moment he's 10 feet away. Next moment his blade presses against Saren's throat. Not breaking skin yet, but close enough to communicate exactly how thin the line between life and death has become. Finish that sentence, Aldric whispers. Give me excuse. Saren goes very, very still, but his eyes gleam with victory, because this is the trap. If Aldric kills him now, it's murder, not justice. If Aldric lets him live, Saren escapes to plot revenge. Either way, the Alpha Regent wins. The boy's voice cuts through impossible choice. Papa Kai needs you. 3 words. That's all it takes to remind Aldric what matters. He withdraws the blade, slowly, deliberately, making sure everyone sees the control it requires. Then he turns his back on Saren, on the soldiers, on the entire court, and walks to Kaius. Can you walk? Kaius tries. His legs buckle. Labor contractions steal strength faster than blood loss, faster than fear, faster than anything he's prepared for. Aldric doesn't hesitate. He sheathes his sword and lifts Kaius into his arms, careful of the swollen belly, mindful of the crown still perched on brown curls, gentle despite his reputation for coldness. I've got you. The boy follows, practically running to keep up with Aldric's long strides. The healer grabs her supplies and hustles after them. The Southern commander signals his men to form protective escort, surrounding the Frost King and his struggling Omega as they make for the private royal quarters. Saren's voice echoes across marble one last time. You're making a mistake, my king. Choosing sentiment over stability. Love over legacy. The kingdom will remember this weakness. Aldric doesn't slow, doesn't look back, but his arms tighten around Kaius, and his voice carries despite not shouting. Let them remember. They're halfway across the hall when a court elder gasps, pointing at Kaius with shaking hand. The unborn pup's heartbeat. I can hear it through the throne's resonance. It resembles. She cuts herself off, eyes wide with shock or fear or recognition. The high priestess finishes what she won't. It resembles the late queen's heartbeat. The throne remembers Malika's rhythm. And this child, her gaze locks on Kaius's belly. This child carries the same pattern. Saren's face twists with fresh hatred, rage breaking through calculated control like fire through ice. If the baby shares the late queen's heartbeat, what does that mean for Kaius's survival? Will history repeat itself, or can Aldric finally break the cycle? Share your predictions below. The door slams behind them. Kaius barely registers the royal quarters. Silk curtains, carved furniture, windows overlooking gardens he's only seen from servant corridors. Pain consumes everything else. His body clenches, muscles contracting hard enough to steal breath, and he hears himself make sounds he didn't know humans could produce. Aldric lowers him onto the bed. What do you need? The healer is already moving, snapping orders at servants who appear from hidden doorways, demanding hot water and clean linens and tools whose names Kaius doesn't recognize. The boy hovers near the door, eyes wide and scared, watching his papakai suffer in ways children shouldn't witness. The pup needs to leave. The healer doesn't look up from checking Kaius's dilation. Her hands move with practiced efficiency, clinical despite gentleness. This will get worse before it's over. He shouldn't see. No. Kaius gasps the word between contractions. He stays. If something happens to me, he needs to know I fought, that I didn't just. Another wave of pain cuts him off. Aldric kneels beside the bed, bringing himself eye level with Kaius. Nothing is happening to you. You're going to survive this. Birth this baby. Live to watch both your children grow. You can't promise that. Kaius grips the sheets hard enough to tear expensive fabric. Malika didn't survive. What if the pattern repeats? What if? Then I break the pattern. Aldric's hand covers Kaius's, steady despite the tremor Kaius can feel underneath. I wasn't there for her. I am here for you. A knock interrupts. Sharp, urgent, followed by voices raised in argument outside the door. The Southern commander's rough tone cuts through. My king, you need to see this. Aldric's jaw tightens. He doesn't want to leave. Kaius can see the war in his silver eyes. Duty versus love, kingdom versus family. The same choice that's haunted him for 8 years. Go! Kaius forces the word out. If Saren is planning something, he is. The healer's voice hardens. Men like him don't confess murder without exit strategy. He's counting on chaos. On the Omega being too vulnerable to protect. On the king being too distracted to notice until it's too late. Aldric stands, hand moving to his sword. No one enters this room without my permission. Anyone who tries. He doesn't finish the threat. Doesn't need to. The promise of violence lives in his posture. He opens the door. The Southern commander stands there, face grim, holding a sealed letter. This just arrived. From the Eastern Territories. They're demanding formal trial for the Alpha Regent. Threatening secession if. He stops, noticing Kaius writhing on the bed. Perhaps this should wait. Nothing waits. Aldric takes the letter, breaks the seal, scans contents that make his expression go cold. They want Saren tried publicly, want proof of his crimes displayed before the entire realm. And they've given us 3 days. He looks up. 3 days or they march on the capital. The healer curses. The Omega won't survive 3 days of this stress. Labor is already complicated. Adding political pressure. Another contraction hits. Kaius screams, raw and desperate, the sound of a body being torn apart from the inside. The baby is too big, too early, too everything wrong with a pregnancy carried under constant threat. The boy rushes to the bedside, grabbing Kaius's hand. Squeeze, like when I have nightmares and you let me squeeze your hand until I feel better. Kaius squeezes. The boy winces but doesn't pull away. 4 years old and already braver than most adults. Aldric reads more of the letter, and with each line his expression darkens. Saren sent correspondence to every major territory, claiming I've abandoned hierarchy for sentiment, that the throne is compromised, that he stops, eyes locking on one particular sentence, that he has proof the Omega used witchcraft to seduce me, to bewitch the pup, to corrupt the throne's ancient magic. Silence falls heavy as death, because witchcraft accusations carry sentences worse than execution. They carry torture, public trials designed to break bodies and minds, confessions extracted through pain so severe that innocent people admit to crimes they never committed just to make it stop. Kaius feels ice flood his veins despite the heat of labor. He's not going to let me survive this, even if the baby lives, even if pain steals his words again. The healer checks his progress. Her face goes tight. The baby's position shifted. Breach. We need to turn him manually or what? Aldric's voice could cut diamonds. Or we lose them both. The boy's small voice breaks through the horror. Can you fix it? Can you make the baby turn around? I can try. The healer meets Aldric's gaze. But it will hurt, more than anything he's felt so far. And there's no guarantee. Do it. Kaius gasps the permission. Save the baby, whatever it costs. Just another contraction. Longer, stronger. His vision goes white at the edges. The healer's hands press against his belly, pushing, manipulating, trying to shift the baby from deadly position to something survivable. Kaius screams. The sound echoes off stone walls, probably carrying through the entire palace, announcing his weakness to everyone who already wants him dead. Outside, boots thunder through corridors. Voices shout orders. Metal clangs against metal, swords being drawn, armor being donned, soldiers preparing for something that sounds a lot like war. The southern commander appears in the doorway again. My king, Saren has barricaded himself in the eastern tower. He's calling it sanctuary, claiming royal protection until formal trial. The eastern tower. Aldric's voice goes flat. Where Malika died. Yes, my king. He's taunting me. Aldric turns to stare at Kaius, at the struggling Omega who somehow became the center of a kingdom tearing itself apart. Using her death as shield, daring me to storm the tower and prove I'm the monster he's painting me as. The healer finally gets the baby turned. Kaius sobs relief mixed with agony as pressure shifts from impossible to merely excruciating. How much longer? Hours. Maybe less if labor progresses quickly. The healer wipes sweat from Kaius's forehead. But you need to breathe, focus, save your strength for. An explosion rocks the palace. Not close, maybe a mile away, but loud enough to rattle windows, shake foundations, send servants screaming through hallways in panic. The southern commander's face goes pale. That came from the southern gates. Saren must have. He stops, understanding hitting like physical blow. He called in more than just my men. He's been planning full siege. Aldric grips his sword so tight his knuckles go white. How many? Unknown. But if he's been coordinating with eastern territories, the commander doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. They both know what organized rebellion looks like. What it costs to stop. Another explosion. Closer this time. Guards rush past the open door, shouting about breaches and casualties and gates that won't hold. Kaius feels the baby shift again. Downward this time, pressing against his pelvis. Ready or not. It's coming. The baby's coming now. The healer positions herself, hands ready. Push when the next contraction hits. And pray we finish before. The door explodes inward. Not from blast, from battering ram. 6 soldiers in eastern colors pour through. Weapons drawn, faces hidden behind helmets, moving with precision that speaks of planning and rehearsal. The southern commander draws his blade. Get back! But he's outnumbered, outmaneuvered. The eastern soldiers separate him from Aldric, from the bed, from any chance of protecting the Omega currently trying to birth while under attack. Their leader steps forward, sword pointed at Kaius. Alpha Regent Saren demands the Omega be brought to trial immediately. Alive or... He sees the blood, the baby crowning, the impossible timing. Or we wait until after he births and then drag him. You'll do neither. Aldric's voice drops to register that makes grown warriors step back. Leave now or die where you stand. You're outnumbered, my king. 6 against 1. Even the Frost King can't. Aldric moves. 3 soldiers fall before the others even register attack. His blade finds throats, hearts, spaces between armor that shouldn't exist. The remaining 3 rush him together, coordinated assault meant to overwhelm through numbers. Kaius pushes. The baby crowns. Pain and terror and life all happening at once while men kill each other 3 feet away from the bed. The boy screams, "Papa Kai!" The healer doesn't look up. Can't look up. Her entire focus stays on catching the baby, on making sure Kaius doesn't tear, on delivering life while death dances in the background. Aldric kills the 4th soldier. The 5th. The 6th manages to land a blow, blade slicing across the Frost King's shoulder, drawing blood that spatters across marble. But Aldric doesn't slow. He grabs the soldier's wrist, twists, breaks bone with wet crack. The man screams. Aldric silences him permanently. Again, the healer orders. Push again. The head's out. One more and the baby's cry fills the room. Hi, piercing, alive. Kaius collapses back against pillows, every muscle trembling, barely conscious. The healer works quickly, cutting cord, clearing airways, checking fingers and toes for problems. A girl, she announces, small but strong, loud enough to wake the entire kingdom. The boy rushes to the bedside, staring in wonder at his new sister. She's so tiny. She's perfect. Kaius reaches for her with shaking hands. The healer places the baby against his chest, warm and bloody and screaming protest at being forced into a world currently exploding around her. Aldric staggers to the bed, pressing his uninjured hand against Kaius's face. Blood stains his robes. Sweat drips from his hair. 6 bodies cool on marble behind him. You did it, he whispers. You survived. We're not done surviving. The Southern commander appears in the destroyed doorway, face grim. That was just the first wave. Saren has 50 more soldiers surrounding the palace. He's demanding the Omega be surrendered within the hour. He pauses. He's also demanding the newborn. Kaius's arms tighten around his daughter. No, he claims the baby is evidence, that its heartbeat matching the late queen proves witchcraft, that both Omega and child must be tried before they're burned. Aldric finishes the horror no one wants to say out loud. That's his endgame, public execution disguised as justice. Make martyrs of us all while claiming divine righteousness. A spy rushes in, breathless and bleeding from shallow wound. My king, the southern clans march toward the palace. Saren called them. They'll arrive within the hour. When a newborn's first breath coincides with kingdom-wide siege, how far will a father go to protect his family? Will Aldric surrender to prevent slaughter, or will love finally prove stronger than hierarchy? Share your predictions and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. Drop your thoughts in the comments and inspire others with your theories. The baby stops crying. Kaius's heart lurches. He stares down at his daughter, checking for breath, for movement, for any sign that she's okay. The infant blinks up at him, eyes dark and curious, too aware for someone minutes old. She yawns, then settles against his chest like the world isn't burning around them. She's exhausted, the healer says softly. As are you. Both of you need rest, not... She gestures at the 6 corpses, the blood pooling on marble, the sound of more soldiers approaching through the corridor. Not this. Aldric's wound drips red onto expensive rugs. He ignores it, focus locked on the destroyed doorway where boot steps echo closer. How many entrances to the royal quarters? 3. The southern commander answers. This main door, the servants' passage behind the wardrobe, and the balcony overlooking the eastern garden. Secure them, all of them. No one enters without. Aldric's voice cuts off as the baby makes a small sound. His entire demeanor shifts. hard edges softening as he stares at the infant like she might disappear if he looks away. She's so small. She's a fighter. Kaius runs trembling fingers over his daughter's dark hair, soft as silk, already growing in thick, just like her brother. The boy presses close, studying his sister with the kind of intense focus only children possess. Can I hold her? When things are calmer, Kaius promises, then realizes how hollow that sounds. When will things be calm? When will they stop running, stop hiding, stop fighting for the right to simply exist? An explosion rocks the palace, closer than before, maybe inside the walls now. Screams echo from distant corridors. The healer flinches but doesn't abandon her position near the bed, already preparing supplies in case they need to move quickly. The southern commander returns from checking the balcony entrance. My men are in position, but my king, we're outnumbered 10-1. If Saren coordinates assault on all 3 entrances, then we hold what we can. Aldric tears fabric from his sleeve, wrapping his shoulder wound with practiced efficiency. How long until the southern clans arrive? 40 minutes, maybe less. And their allegiance? The commander's silence answers louder than words, because no one knows. The southern clans owe loyalty to the throne, but Saren has spent months cultivating relationships, making promises, painting pictures of power that could be theirs if they choose the right side. Kaius shifts on the bed, trying to sit upright despite exhaustion pulling at every muscle. The baby fusses, sensing her carrier's distress. He rocks her gently, the motion instinctive despite never having done this before. You need to leave. Take the children. Get them somewhere safe while... No. Aldric's response is immediate, absolute. We stay together. You're being strategic. Kaius hates how his voice breaks. If I stay, I'm a target. Saren wants me tried, burned, erased. But the children, they're heirs. They're valuable. Take them and negotiate. Use them as leverage to what? Aldric kneels beside the bed, bringing himself eye level with Kaius. To save your life by sacrificing our family? To teach our children that love is transactional? That protection comes with conditions. He reaches out, fingertips brushing the baby's cheek with gentleness that contradicts every story told about the Frost King. I already made that mistake once. Chose politics over presence. Let Malika investigate threats alone because I thought the kingdom needed me more than she did. His voice drops to whisper, I won't make it twice. The boy tugs Aldric's sleeve. Are we going to die? The question hangs in air thick enough to taste. Kaius wants to lie, to promise safety, to be the parent who shields children from truths too heavy for small shoulders. But the boy deserves honesty, even when honesty hurts. We're going to fight, Aldric says instead. And fighting means we might get hurt, but it also means we don't give up. Don't surrender. Don't let people like Saren decide our worth. Mama Malika didn't give up either, did she? Aldric's breath catches. He stares at his son like seeing him for the first time. This child he kept distant for years, afraid that love would become weakness, that attachment would lead to loss. No, she fought until the end. And his voice cracks. I should have fought with her. You can fight with us now. The boy's statement is simple, uncomplicated by adult cynicism. We're still here. Outside, the sound of organized march approaches. Boots in rhythm, weapons rattling, commands shouted in voices that carry authority earned through violence. The southern commander appears in the doorway again, face grave. The clans are here, 200 strong. They've surrounded the palace, blocking every exit. Their leader demands audience with... He pauses, eyes flicking to Kaius. With the Omega. Kaius's blood runs cold. Me? Why me? He didn't say. Only that he'll negotiate with the Omega or no one. It's a trap. The healer's voice hardens. Saren's playing games, trying to separate Kaius from protection so he can execute me without witnesses. Kaius finishes. The baby stirs against his chest, tiny fist curling around his finger. Or try to. Either way, Staying here just delays the inevitable. Then we delay. Aldric stands, hand moving to his sword. Every minute we hold is another minute to find strategy, to call allies, to... A servant bursts through the door. Young woman, terrified, clutching a sealed letter. My king, this arrived by arrow through the throne room window. It's marked urgent. Aldric breaks the seal. His expression goes from controlled to murderous in seconds. Saren is offering terms. If I surrender Kaius and the children, he'll stand trial peacefully. If I refuse... He looks up, silver eyes blazing. If I refuse, he executes every servant in the eastern wing. 50 people, dead within the hour unless I comply. The room goes silent, because that's the trap. Choose family or choose innocence, love or duty, personal want or greater good. The same choice that destroyed Aldric once before, the choice that made him cold, the choice he swore he'd never face again. Kaius feels tears burn behind his eyes. You have to accept. No, you have to. Kaius clutches his daughter tighter, memorizing the feel of her, the smell of her, the tiny sounds she makes while sleeping. 50 lives, Aldric. 50 people who never asked to be part of this. You can't let them die for you. Aldric's voice could shatter stone. I already let Malika die for politics, for stability, for the illusion that sacrifice makes better kings. It doesn't. It makes cowards who hide behind duty while people they love bleed out alone. The boy's small hand slips into Aldric's. Papa said brave is being scared and doing it anyway. You're being brave right now. Aldric looks down at his son. This child he barely knows, this piece of Malika he kept at distance because grief made connection impossible. Then he looks at Kaius, at the exhausted Omega holding their newborn, at the family he accidentally created while trying to stay frozen. I'm done being the Frost King, Aldric says quietly. Done ruling through fear and distance. Done pretending emotion is weakness. He turns to the Southern commander. Gather everyone still loyal. Every guard, every servant, every person who believes hierarchy shouldn't require cruelty. We're making a stand. My king, we're outnumbered. I don't care. Aldric's voice rings with certainty that's been missing for 8 years. Saren wants war? He gets war. But on our terms. Not his. Kaius wants to argue. Wants to beg Aldric to be strategic. To choose the option that saves the most lives even if it costs theirs. But the baby yawns against his chest. And the boy squeezes his hand. And suddenly Kaius understands what Aldric already knows. Some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth dying for. And family, messy, complicated, accidentally beautiful family, ranks at the top of that list. The healer begins packing supplies. If we're making a stand, I need more bandages, more medicines, more. She stops, staring at the baby. Her heartbeat is getting stronger. I can hear it even without the throne's resonance. It's like Malika's, Aldric whispers. The throne recognized it because my daughter carries my mate's rhythm. Blood memory passed through generations. Proof that love doesn't die. It just changes form. The Southern commander bows. My king will hold this position until... Voices explode in the corridor. Not attacking, arguing. Someone demanding entry. Someone else refusing. Metal scraping stone. A familiar voice cutting through chaos. I am the high priestess of this realm, and I will see the king now. The guards step aside. The elderly woman storms through, leaning heavily on her staff, breathing hard from climbing stairs too quickly. She stops when she sees the baby, and her entire expression transforms from anger to wonder. The throne sent me a vision, she gasps. While I was praying for guidance, I saw... Her eyes lock on Kaius. I saw what happened to Queen Malika. I saw who pushed her, and I can prove it. Aldric goes very, very still. What did you see? Everything. The high priestess's voice shakes with fury and grief combined. Saren met Malika in the Eastern Tower, convinced her to investigate rumors of betrayal, then pushed her when she turned her back. I saw her fall, saw her reach for the railing, saw him walk away without looking back. She holds up a small cloth bundle. And I found this hidden in the tower's foundation. A letter in Saren's handwriting, confessing the plan in case he needed leverage later. The room erupts. Guards shout for copies. The Southern commander demands to see proof. The healer clutches her supplies like they might anchor her through shock. Aldric takes the letter with shaking hands, reads it once, twice, then looks up with expression that promises violence so extreme it will become legend. We have proof. We have witness. We have everything needed for justice. His voice could freeze oceans. Now we just need to survive long enough to deliver it. A knock echoes through the room. Deliberate, measured, mocking. Saren's voice carries through the heavy door. My king, I believe we have much to discuss. Open this door and negotiate like civilized rulers, or I start executing servants. Your choice. When proof of murder arrives alongside threats of massacre, can justice survive against overwhelming odds? Will the High Priestess's testimony be enough, or has Saren planned for every possibility? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The finale is coming, and you won't want to miss a second. Share your theories in the comments and inspire others with your predictions. The boy moves first, before anyone can stop him, before guards can react, before Kaius can scream wait. The 4-year-old marches to the door and presses small hands against heavy wood. You're mean, he shouts through the barrier. And you hurt people. And I don't like you. Saren's laugh echoes from the other side, cold and amused. The pup has opinions. How charming. Does he also have solutions? Can he save the 50 servants I've gathered in the Eastern Wing? Can he stop the siege currently tightening around this palace like noose? He doesn't need to. The boy's voice steadies. My papa will. Silence. Then Saren's voice, sharper now. Which papa, boy? The Frost King who can't decide between duty and sentiment? Or the Omega who seduced his way into position he never earned? Both. The boy turns to face Aldric and Kaius, eyes bright with something that looks like understanding no 4-year-old should possess. Because they love me, and my sister, and love makes people strong, not weak. You don't have anyone who loves you. That's why you're so mean. The words land like hammer strikes. Simple, honest, devastating in their truth. Kaius feels his daughter stir against his chest. She's awake now, dark eyes tracking movement around the room. Too alert for a newborn. Too aware, like she's already measuring the world that wants her dead. The healer whispers, that child sees too much. He always has. Kaius shifts on the bed, exhaustion pulling at every muscle. He knew I was pregnant before I did. Knew when the baby was in distress. Knew. He stops, staring at his son with fresh realization. He knew the crown was meant for me before anyone else did. The High Priestess nods slowly. Some children are born with sight, with ability to see patterns, to recognize truth beneath surfaces. The old bloodlines carry this gift. Her gaze moves to Aldric. Did Queen Malika have sight? Yes. Aldric's voice roughens. She dreamed the betrayal 3 nights before it happened. Told me someone close was planning treason. I didn't believe her. Thought grief from her mother's death made her paranoid. He closes his eyes. I should have listened. She tried to warn you. The High Priestess's expression hardens. And Saren knew she had sight. That's why he moved quickly, before her dreams revealed his face. A crash echoes from somewhere below, maybe first floor, maybe dungeons. More screams, more boots thundering through corridors. The siege is tightening, closing in like fist around throat. Saren's voice returns, patient and poisonous. I'm waiting, my king. Open this door. Negotiate. Or watch 50 innocent people die because you chose sentiment over strategy. The Southern commander positions himself near the door, hand on sword hilt. We can hold this position, at least temporarily. If what? Saren interrupts, somehow hearing through heavy wood. If you sacrifice servants to protect an Omega? If you prove hierarchy means nothing when personal attachment is involved, that's not ruling. That's weakness wearing a crown. Aldric turns to face the door. His expression has gone cold again. Not the ice of grief, but the calculated chill of someone who's made impossible decision and accepted the cost. What are your terms? Simple. Saren's voice smooths into practiced diplomacy. The Omega and both pups surrender for trial. Public trial. Transparent. Fair. If proven innocent, they go free. If guilty. He pauses, letting imagination fill the gap. If guilty, justice is served. The servants live. The siege ends. The kingdom stabilizes. And if I refuse? Then you prove every accusation true. That you value personal attachment over subjects' lives. That you're unfit to rule. That the throne needs new leadership. Another pause. Leadership not compromised by witchcraft and manipulation. The baby makes a small noise. Not crying, just existing, just breathing, just being alive in a world that wants her silenced. Kaius's arms tighten around her. Protective instinct overriding logic that says this is unwinnable. That Saren planned too well. That sometimes love isn't enough. The boy walks back to the bed, climbing up beside Kaius with careful movements. Papa Kai, you're really brave. Braver than anyone. I'm terrified, Kaius admits. That's what makes it brave. The boy snuggles close, voice dropping to whisper. Don't worry, I have a plan. Before Kaius can ask what plan, the boy looks at Aldric. Can you trust me? Aldric stares at his son. This child he barely knows. This piece of Malika he kept at distance. This tiny human asking for trust when adults have proven themselves untrustworthy. Yes. Then let me talk to the mean alpha. Absolutely not. Kaius's response is immediate. You're 4 years old. I'm not letting you. He won't hurt me. The boy's voice carries certainty that shouldn't exist. Because if he does, everyone will know he's a monster. Even his soldiers. Even the people who follow him. He needs me safe to look like he's right. The high priestess inhales sharply. The child has sight. He sees the pattern. What pattern? The healer demands. That Saren's power comes from appearing reasonable, civilized, a better choice than the Frost King. The boy slides off the bed, standing straight as soldier. But if he hurts a little kid, everyone knows he's lying. Nobody follows monsters. Not really. They follow people who pretend to be good. Aldric kneels in front of his son, bringing them eye level. What's your plan? I'm going to make him show everyone who he really is. The boy's expression is far too old for his face. You always said truth is a weapon, right? That's what Mama Malika believed. Yes. Aldric's voice breaks. That's what she believed. Then I'm using it. Before anyone can stop him, the boy walks to the door and pulls it open. Saren stands on the other side, flanked by 20 armed soldiers. His expression is calm, confident, completely in control, until he sees the 4-year-old standing alone in the doorway, small and brave and impossibly fragile. Well, Saren says slowly, the pup volunteers himself. How convenient. I'm not volunteering. The boy's voice doesn't shake. I'm making you a deal. Children don't make deals with alphas. This one does. The boy steps into the corridor, and Kaius's heart stops. You want to look like you're good, right? Like you're saving the kingdom. I am saving the kingdom. Then prove it. The boy gestures back toward the room where Kaius holds his newborn sister. Let the healer check the baby. Let everyone see if she's really got witchcraft or if you're just scared of people loving each other. Saren's jaw tightens. The trial will determine. Trials can be faked. People lie, but babies don't. The boy's voice rises, clear enough to carry to every soldier in the corridor. If my sister is dangerous, the healer will know. Right now, in front of everybody. Then you don't need to hurt anyone. You just prove you're right. Murmurs ripple through the soldiers. Some exchange glances. Others shift weight from foot to foot. Because the child is offering exactly what Saren claims to want. Transparent truth, public verification, proof without violence. Refusing makes him look like the monster. Accepting means risking that the baby is exactly what she appears. Innocent, human, no more magical than any other newborn. Saren's smile stretches thin. Very well. The healer examines the child. Here, now, in front of my men. His gaze slides past the boy to where Kaius sits frozen. But if she finds even trace of unnatural influence, the trial proceeds immediately. The boy nods. Deal. He turns and walks back into the room, and Kaius realizes with stunning clarity that his 4-year-old just outmaneuvered a man who orchestrated murder and coup. Used innocence as weapon, turned Saren's own strategy against him. The healer moves to the bed, hands steady despite pressure of 20 armed soldiers crowding the doorway. She lifts the baby gently, checking eyes, ears, reflexes, tests heartbeat, examines skin for marks that old superstition claims indicate unnatural influence. The baby coos, completely oblivious to being evidence in a trial that will determine her family's survival. After 5 minutes that feel like hours, the healer looks up. She's perfectly normal, healthy, strong. No signs of magic, witchcraft, or anything beyond standard newborn presentation. She pauses. Her heartbeat is unusual, matches the late queen's pattern, but that's genetics, not magic. Blood memory passed through legitimate lineage. Saren's expression goes flat. You're certain? I've delivered 300 babies in 40 years. I'm certain. The soldiers exchange looks. Weapons lower slightly. Doubt creeps into expressions that were carved in certainty minutes ago. The boy steps forward again. See? No witchcraft. Just a family. So now you can let everyone go, right? The servants. Everybody. Because you proved. I proved nothing. Saren's voice cracks like whip. This examination was preliminary. Full trial requires formal assessment, documentation, multiple witnesses. You said if the healer found nothing, we were safe. The boy's voice rises, and for the first time, he sounds like the child he is. Scared, desperate, betrayed. You promised. I promised nothing, and there it is. The mask slipping, the monster showing through cracks in civilized exterior. Several soldiers step back. One actually sheathes his weapon. Another whispers something to his companion that sounds a lot like "this isn't right." Saren sees it happening. Loyalty fracturing, doubt spreading, control slipping through fingers. His expression twists into something ugly. Sees the Omega, sees the pups. Now, when innocence exposes evil, can truth survive against desperate men willing to destroy everything? Will the soldiers follow orders or their conscience? Subscribe and turn on notifications. The final battle begins next. Comment below which soldier you think will turn against Saren first. Aldric's sword clears its sheath before the first soldier moves. The Frost King doesn't wait for attack, doesn't hesitate, doesn't give them chance to coordinate. He becomes violence, pure and controlled, the kind earned through decades of combat, the kind that makes legends and ends rebellions. 3 soldiers fall in as many seconds. The southern commander joins the fight, blade singing as it meets enemy steel. His loyal men pour through the servants' entrance. 15 warriors who chose king over coup, duty over ambition, truth over hierarchy. The corridor becomes chaos. Blood sprays across expensive wallpaper. Bodies collapse on marble. Screams echo through a palace that's seen too much death, survived too many betrayals, witnessed too many kingdoms rise and fall on the backs of people who believed power mattered more than mercy. Kaius clutches his daughter to his chest, using his body as shield. The baby wails, high and terrified, brand new to a world that welcomed her with war. The boy presses against Kaius' side, trying to be brave, trying to help, trying to understand how his plan went so wrong so fast. The healer grabs medical supplies and positions herself in front of the bed. Anyone who wants them goes through me first. 2 soldiers try. She drops them both with moves that speak of training no one expected from elderly woman who spends her days delivering babies and setting bones. One goes down clutching his knee. The other staggers back with blood pouring from nose broken by her staff. Saren doesn't join the fight. He stands at the edge of violence, watching with expression that communicates calculation, strategy, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. His eyes track Aldric's movements, searching for weakness, for the opening that will end this quickly. He finds it. The boy, standing too far from protection, too exposed, too perfect a target. Saren moves, fast enough that guards don't register until too late, smooth enough that it looks almost natural. He grabs the 4-year-old by the collar, hauling him up, pressing blade against small throat. Everything stops. Aldric freezes mid-strike. The Southern commander holds position. Even the fighting soldiers pause, staring at the scene that just rewrote every rule. "Drop your weapons," Saren orders quietly, "or I demonstrate what happens when sentiment becomes liability." The boy doesn't cry, doesn't beg. He stares at Aldric with eyes that hold too much understanding, too much acceptance of what might come next. "It's okay, Papa. You taught me brave. I remember." Aldric's sword wavers. His entire body trembles with rage so intense it's become physical thing, violence waiting for excuse. But the blade at his son's throat keeps him frozen, turns the Frost King into statue carved from desperation and impossible choice. Kaius feels his world narrow to single point, his son. The boy who called him Papa Kai when no one else saw him as human. The child who chose him over hierarchy, who placed a crown on his head, who just tried to save them all with innocence as weapon. "Let him go." Kaius's voice comes out steady despite terror clawing at his throat. "Take me, try me, execute me if you want. Just let him go." "No." The boy's response is immediate. "No, Papa Kai, you have the baby. She needs you. You need me too." Kaius tries to stand, tries to move, but his body is wrecked from labor, from blood loss, from giving life while death circled. His legs won't hold. He collapses back against pillows, helpless and hating it. Saren's smile returns. How touching. The Omega willing to die for the pup willing to die for the Omega. Everyone willing to sacrifice except. His gaze locks on Aldric. Except the king who started this mess by crowning sentiment over strength. "I crowned stability." Aldric's voice has gone flat, the tone that precedes massacres. "You were supposed to be steady hand, political ally, someone who understood what the kingdom needed." His silver eyes burn cold enough to freeze sun. "I was wrong. You were." Saren adjusts his grip on the boy, blade pressing just hard enough to dimple skin without breaking it. "And now you'll fix your mistake. Order your men to stand down. Surrender Kaius and the baby for trial. Accept that hierarchy matters more than." The boy bites him. Not hard, not dangerous, just enough to shock. 4-year-old teeth sinking into adult hand with the kind of desperate courage that comes from having nothing left to lose. Saren jerks back. The blade wavers. Just for heartbeat, just enough. Aldric moves. He crosses 10 feet in less than a second, sword swinging an arc designed to separate head from body. But Saren anticipated, trained for this. He shoves the boy away and raises his own blade, meeting Aldric's strike with clash that echoes like thunder. The boy tumbles, rolling across marble, scrambling to his feet with scraped palms and terrified eyes. The Southern commander scoops him up before enemy soldiers can grab him, pulling him back to relative safety behind the defensive line. Aldric and Saren circle each other. Two alphas who were never meant to exist in same space, predators who know only one survives this. Around them, fighting resumes. Guards clash, soldiers fall. Blood paints marble in patterns that look almost artistic until you remember their people, lives, futures ended before they barely began. Kaius watches helplessly. His daughter screams against his chest. The boy sobs in the Southern commander's arms. The healer grips her staff like weapon, ready for next wave. And Aldric fights, not with the cold precision that built his reputation. With rage, with grief, with 8 years of guilt and loss and regret transformed into violence that doesn't stop, doesn't slow, doesn't accept anything except complete victory or death. He's not the Frost King anymore. He's something older, something rawer, something that existed before civilization taught men to bury emotion beneath strategy. Saren matches him strike for strike. The Alpha Regent is younger, faster, trained in styles that favor agility over strength. He dances around Aldric's attacks, searching for openings, waiting for age and injury to slow the king enough to exploit. "You're going to lose," Saren pants between strikes. "Even if you kill me, my soldiers will overrun this room. We'll seize your family. We'll finish what I started." His blade finds opening, slashing across Aldric's ribs. "You can't protect them. You never could. Just like you couldn't protect Malika." The words are weapon sharper than any blade. They sink deep, finding all the places where Aldric still bleeds from failures he can't forgive. But instead of breaking him, they transform him. Aldric's next strike comes faster, harder, fueled not by rage but by something more dangerous: purpose. "You're right," he says quietly, voice carrying despite chaos. "I couldn't protect Malika, couldn't see the threat until too late, couldn't stop the fall that stole her from us." Another strike, this one drawing blood from Saren's shoulder. "But I'm here now, present, fighting, and you made one fatal mistake." "What mistake?" "You assumed I was still the man you manipulated 8 years ago." Aldric's blade moves so fast it blurs. The one who put politics over people, strategy over love. The one frozen by grief into something barely human. His next strike drives Saren back 3 steps. "But that man died the moment my pup placed a crown on Kaius's head. The moment I remembered why any of this matters." Saren's back hits the wall. Nowhere left to retreat. His blade comes up in desperate defense, but Aldric's sword finds the gap in his guard, sinking deep into his shoulder, pinning him to expensive wallpaper. Saren screams. His weapon clatters to marble. Blood pours from the wound, too much blood, the kind that announces end is coming fast. Aldric leans close, voice dropping to whisper meant only for Saren. "You killed my mate, threatened my family, tried to destroy everything I fought to protect." His hand tightens on the sword hilt, twisting blade just enough to make Saren gasp. "But I won't kill you. That would be mercy. And you don't deserve mercy." He yanks the blade free. Saren collapses, clutching his shoulder, face pale with shock and pain. Around them, fighting stops. Enemy soldiers see their leader fallen, their cause lost, their promises of power revealed as lies. Weapons lower, hands raise in surrender. The Southern commander's men move quickly, disarming them, securing them, making sure no one else dies today. The High Priestess steps forward, letter of confession held high. "Saren Valor, you are charged with murder of Queen Malika, attempted coup, and crimes against the crown. This letter, written in your own hand, confesses the plan. And my testimony as witness confirms what the throne's vision revealed." She turns to face the remaining soldiers, voice rising with authority earned through 60 years of service. "The kingdom will see justice, true justice, not trials designed to burn innocence, not executions disguised as hierarchy." Her gaze sweeps the room. "Today, love proved stronger than ambition, and that is the legacy we will build." Aldric staggers back to the bed. Blood soaks his robes. Exhaustion pulls at features that look 10 years older than they did this morning. He reaches Kaius and simply stands there, staring at the Omega and the baby like he's afraid they might disappear. "It's over." Kaius's voice shakes. "It's over." Aldric's hand moves to cup Kaius's face. Gentle despite the blood staining his palm, tender despite the violence he just enacted. "You're safe. They're safe. We're." His legs give out. He collapses against the bed, unconscious before he hits silk sheets. The healer rushes forward, already assessing wounds, barking orders for supplies. "He's lost too much blood. I need pressure on these cuts. Now." Kaius shifts the baby to one arm and uses his free hand to press against the worst of Aldric's injuries. The boy climbs onto the bed, adding his small hands to the effort, tears streaming down his face. "Is Papa going to die?" he whispers. "No." Kaius forces certainty into his voice. He just saved us, defeated the monster, protected his family. Heroes don't die after that. They rest, they heal. They wake up to see what they fought for. The baby stops crying. She reaches out with tiny hand, fingers brushing Aldric's blood-stained cheek. As if even brand new to this world, she recognizes her father, knows he matters, understands that love is what makes survival worthwhile. Outside, dawn breaks over a kingdom that will never be the same. When a Frost King melts and a family survives the impossible, what kind of kingdom can they build from the ashes? Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the stunning conclusion. Drop your thoughts in the comments and share which moment hit you hardest. Your words inspire us and others who need these stories. 3 days later, Kaius stands on the western balcony, daughter wrapped against his chest in silk that costs more than he's worth. Correction, more than he used to think he was worth. Before crowns and thrones and rebellions. Before learning that value isn't determined by hierarchy but by the people who choose to love you anyway. The baby sleeps. She does that a lot, eating, sleeping, existing in the simple way newborns do when the world isn't actively trying to kill them. The healer says she's thriving, gaining weight, already showing signs of the strength her father's bloodline carries. Speaking of her father, Aldric emerges from the royal chambers, moving slower than usual, hand pressed against bandaged ribs. 5 days of rest did nothing to erase the exhaustion carved into his features, but something else has changed. The ice in his eyes has melted. The wall around his heart has cracked. He looks younger somehow, more alive. You should be resting. Kaius doesn't turn from watching the sunrise paint the kingdom in gold and red. So should you. Aldric stops beside him, close enough that their shoulders brush. You birthed a baby while under siege 3 days ago. Standing isn't in your list of approved activities. Neither is ruling a kingdom, but here we are. Kaius finally looks at him. The advisors are demanding formal bond ceremony, public declaration of our... He struggles for words that fit. Whatever this is. Love. Aldric says it simply, like it's not terrifying. This is love. Complicated and messy and nothing like I planned. But love regardless. The word hangs between them. Fragile and new, testing whether it can survive in the light of day after being born in darkness and crisis. Kaius wants to believe it, wants to trust that this isn't just gratitude or relief or the aftermath of shared trauma. But then Aldric's hand finds his, fingers lacing together in gesture so natural it steals breath. And Kaius thinks maybe love doesn't need to be complicated. Maybe it's exactly this, choosing to stand together when everything else falls apart. The boy bursts onto the balcony, golden curls bouncing, eyes bright with excitement. Papa, Papa Kai, they caught the bad soldiers, all of them, and they found more letters. Saren wrote everything down. Behind him, the southern commander appears, looking less grim than usual, almost approaching smile territory. The pup is correct. We've recovered extensive documentation. Saren kept records of every crime, every manipulation, every alliance he formed over the years. Apparently, he believed it made him clever. Instead, it makes prosecution simple. And the 50 servants? Aldric's voice tightens. The ones he threatened to execute? Safe. All of them. Turns out he was bluffing. Counted on you surrendering before anyone verified his claims. The commander's expression hardens. But we did find mass graves in the Eastern Territory. People who refused to support his coup. Families who questioned his authority. 16 bodies so far. Likely more once we finish excavating. Kaius feels sick, because those deaths are partially his fault. If he'd never come here, if he'd died in the trafficking ring, if he'd done anything except survive. Stop! Aldric squeezes his hand. I see it in your face. The guilt. The belief that you caused this. You didn't. Saren caused this. His ambition. His cruelty. His choice to value power over people. But if I hadn't, then he would have found different target. Different excuse. different way to execute the plan he'd been building for years. Aldric turns to face him fully, silver eyes intense. You didn't start this fire. You just happened to be standing close when it burned. Don't take credit for destruction that isn't yours. The boy tugs Kaius' sleeve. Papa Kai, can I hold my sister now? You said when things were calmer. Kaius looks around. The palace is still recovering. Broken windows being repaired, blood scrubbed from marble, wounded soldiers healing in the medical wing. But the siege is over. The threat is contained. And his son is asking for something simple, something human, something that has nothing to do with politics or hierarchy or courts. Yes, Kaius carefully transfers the sleeping infant to the boy's arms, showing him how to support her head, how to hold her secure without squeezing too tight. Gentle, just like that. The boy stares at his sister with wonder that makes Kaius' throat tighten. She's so small. Was I ever this small? You were. Aldric's voice roughens. And I missed most of it. Too busy grieving your birth mother to see the miracle right in front of me. Too frozen to be the father you deserved. You're here now. The boy looks up, smile bright as summer sun. That's what matters. Papa Kai taught me that. People make mistakes, but if they fix them, that's brave. The high priestess joins them on the balcony, moving slowly, leaning heavily on her staff. The court is assembled. They're ready for formal pronouncement. Her gaze moves to Kaius. They're ready to see their new co-ruler officially crowned. Kaius' stomach drops. I can't rule. I'm nobody. I don't have training or education or... You have courage. The high priestess cuts him off with tone that allows no argument. You survived trafficking, pregnancy, labor, siege, and attempted execution in less than a year. You raised a child who sees truth when adults peddle lies. You stood in front of 50 soldiers while barely able to walk and offered your life to save strangers. She pauses. What exactly do you think ruling is, if not that kind of strength? She's right. Aldric's hand tightens around Kaius's. The throne recognized you for reason, not because you wanted power, because you never did. The magic in the stone responds to hearts that prioritize people over politics, love over legacy, truth over hierarchy. But I don't know how to. Neither did I when I inherited at 19. Aldric's voice softens. I learned, made mistakes, lost people I loved because I valued strategy over humanity, nearly destroyed everything trying to be the king everyone expected instead of the king the kingdom needed. He brings Kaius's hand to his lips, kissing knuckles scarred from survival. But you already know what matters, already proved you'll fight for it. The rest is just ceremony and paperwork. The baby wakes, fussing in the boy's arms. Kaius takes her back, rocking her gently, and feels the weight of crown he's still wearing settle more firmly on his head. It doesn't feel foreign anymore. It doesn't feel like theft or mistake or accident. It feels like responsibility, like purpose, like maybe he spent his whole life preparing for this without knowing it. What happens to Saren? Kaius asks. Trial before the full court, public, transparent, everything he denied us. The Southern commander's voice hardens with satisfaction. Then execution, standard procedure for regicide. He'll have chance to confess, to beg mercy, to explain why he did what he did. Not that it will matter. The evidence is overwhelming. And his followers? Most are cooperating, claiming they didn't know the full extent of his crimes, that they believed his version of events. The commander shrugs. Some are lying. Some are probably telling truth. We'll sort them out, punish the guilty, offer redemption to those who deserve it. The boy looks up from where he's been studying his sister's tiny features. What about the people who were mean to Papa Kai? The ones who laughed when he couldn't kneel? Do they get punished too? Aldric and Kaius exchange glances. Because that's the question, isn't it? How do you build a better kingdom without perpetuating the cycle of revenge and retribution? How do you teach that cruelty has consequences without becoming cruel yourself? They get education. Kaius surprises himself with the certainty in his voice. They get to see what happens when hierarchy matters more than humanity. They get to watch their co-ruler, an Omega they considered worthless, make decisions that prioritize mercy over vengeance. And they get to choose whether they want to be part of the kingdom we're building or whether they want to cling to the one that nearly destroyed us. The High Priestess smiles, rare expression that transforms her entire face. That is why the throne chose you, not despite your background. Because of it, you understand suffering in ways the privileged never will. And that understanding makes you dangerous to people like Saren, who rely on hierarchy to justify cruelty. Below, in the grand courtyard, citizens begin gathering. Hundreds of them, common folk who heard about the siege, the coup, the Omega who wore a crown while birthing during battle. They're curious, skeptical, hopeful, waiting to see what kind of rulers will emerge from the chaos. Aldric offers his arm. Ready? No. Kaius adjusts his daughter against his chest, making sure she's secure. But I'm doing it anyway. That's brave. The boy grins. Like you taught me. They walk together through the palace. Strange family built from tragedy and choice, held together by something stronger than blood. The Frost King who learned to thaw. The Omega who learned his worth. The pup who saw truth when adults lied. And the baby who carries her grandmother's heartbeat in her chest, proof that love doesn't die but transforms, passes down through generations, becomes legacy worth fighting for. The throne room doors open. 200 nobles wait inside. Some loyal, some opportunistic, all watching to see what happens next. The throne sits empty at the far end, ancient stone humming with magic that's witnessed 8 centuries of rulers, survived countless wars, recognized only those whose hearts beat for kingdom rather than crown. Kaius and Aldric walk forward together. Equal, united, the boy follows, carrying the crown that started everything, ready to place it back on Kaius's head in front of everyone who said an Omega could never wear it. They reach the throne. Aldric gestures for Kaius to sit, but Kaius shakes his head, pointing to the wide seat designed for one. Together, he says quietly, or not at all. Aldric's expression transforms, surprise melting into something that looks dangerously close to tears. He sits, pulling Kaius down beside him, arranging them so both fit on stone that was never meant for partnership. The throne hums, louder this time, proving. The boy places the crown on Kaius's head, then picks up a second one, smaller, silver instead of gold, the one that belonged to Aldric's late mate, and offers it to Aldric. Mama Malika would want you to wear this, the boy says solemnly, to remember, and to show you learned what she was trying to teach you. Aldric takes the crown with shaking hands, places it on his own head. And for the first time in 8 years, the throne room holds 2 rulers united by love instead of politics, by choice instead of obligation, by truth instead of hierarchy. The High Priestess slams her staff against marble. Behold your rulers, King Aldric Vaylor, who learned that strength without compassion is tyranny, and King Consort Kaius, who proved that worth isn't determined by birth, but by courage in the face of impossible odds. The nobles hesitate. Some kneel immediately. Others exchange glances, weighing politics against conviction, strategy against humanity. Slowly, reluctantly, then with increasing certainty, they all drop to one knee. Not because hierarchy demands it, because hope requires it. Outside, a deafening crack echoes through the throne room doors. Not explosion this time, but something else. Something that sounds like cheering, like celebration, like a kingdom exhaling relief after holding its breath for too long. The Southern commander appears in the doorway, face split by genuine smile. The citizens are celebrating. They're calling this the day of truth, the day hierarchy bowed to love, the day, he stops, emotion choking his voice, the day they remembered why any of this matters. Kaius looks at Aldric, at the boy standing proud beside the throne, at his daughter sleeping peacefully through history being made, and he thinks maybe fairy tales aren't lies after all. Maybe they're just truths that take longer to arrive, require more sacrifice to earn, cost more than anyone expects to pay. But they're real, they're possible, They're sitting right here in a throne room that's seen too much darkness, finally flooded with light. Aldric leans close, whispering against Kaius's ear. I love you, officially, publicly, without shame or hesitation or political calculation. Just love. Simple and complicated and everything I thought I'd never feel again. Kaius's eyes burn. I love you too, even though you're infuriating and emotionally unavailable and still learning how to be human. Then we'll learn together. The baby wakes, crying loud enough to echo off stone, demanding food, attention, acknowledgement that she exists and matters despite being born into chaos. Kaius starts to stand, to find privacy for feeding, but Aldric stops him. Stay, let them see. Let the kingdom understand that rulers are human, that babies need feeding, that power doesn't require pretending to be invulnerable. His hand covers Kaius's. Let them see what we're fighting to protect. So Kaius stays, feeds his daughter in front of 200 nobles who've spent lifetimes believing omegas should hide their biology, that vulnerability is weakness, that love is liability. And the throne hums approval, ancient magic recognizing something it hasn't felt in generations. Rulers who prioritize humanity over hierarchy, who understand that kingdoms are built on people not power, who remember that crowns are worthless if the hearts wearing them have turned to ice. The boy climbs onto the throne between them, fitting perfectly in the space created by two people learning to rule together. This feels right, he says simply, like we're finally home. And looking at his strange, broken, beautiful family, Kaius realizes the pup is right. They're home. They're safe. They're together. And the kingdom that tried to destroy them will be rebuilt by the very people it tried to erase. This is just the beginning of their story. A kingdom rebuilt on love instead of fear. A family forged in fire and crowned in truth. If this journey moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share your favorite moment in the comments below. Your words inspire us and others who need stories of hope, courage, and love triumphing over cruelty. Because sometimes the smallest voices carry the loudest truths. And sometimes the people hierarchy calls worthless prove to be exactly what broken kingdoms need to heal. Thank you for being part of this story. Until next time, remember, brave isn't being unafraid. Brave is being terrified and loving anyway.